Yes, Jorri, how's it going, man?
Good. How about you guys?
Yeah, good. You look nice and relaxed over there after that performance.
Yeah, I mean, I've been relaxed for a couple of weeks now because, I'm over it. I've gone through the 7 stages of acceptance or whatever you call it.
Yeah, I saw
But no,
your I saw
it was.
your call in after the Milan game. I promise you, it put a smile on my face. Put it that way after such a damaging defeat.
It certainly put a smile on mine because we were sitting here after that, and the way he was just saying the cherry lager, we could win the league. It was the best remedy ever, Jorri. I have to thank you for it.
Yeah,
We have to find the positives, right, lads?
So what are the positives today, Jorri? Let's talk about them.
Well, good question. Actually, for me, the main news and the main, I don't know, maybe, yeah, I would say positive is actually the embargo, the press conference. I've absolutely, that's the best press conference I've seen in years. But in terms, if we start with the game, I thought the game was nice. Like everybody, I was watching you guys the watch along, and I think everybody was pretty happy with it, except maybe the last part of the second half. But I mean, we have to remember, and this is what we see, is that there was no press on at all, and there's no problem with our team if there's no press, and you saw it in the second half. They pressed a little bit then, and then actually we started having a little bit of problems and losing possession and making mistakes and stuff like that, so the press is our curse, but that's the curse of any team really, and that's the modern football. Can you tolerate? Can you do you have the marbles to take the press and work through it? Suffer, like Conte likes to say a lot. Or do you crumble under that pressure? And in our case, with many of our defenders, do you simply have the competence and skill to be able to play through the press, and they really don't have it, so we can work with their mentality as much as we want. They will never really have the skill to break a top level press, I think. But yeah, I mean, we saw tactically some interesting things, I mean, Richarlison being the tip of the spear is the best use of him for sure, and for me, actually, what that whole thing kind of helped, because he kind of played fairly centrally and played as our main striker. I think even though he is formationally was on the wing, I think one of the main benefits of that was the time and space that it afforded Kane and Sonny, and basically, of course, now with Porro and so on, we have more, and Davis as well. They're being more offensive, So that's exactly what I always thought Richarlison would maybe be the best benefit of, would be to create that chaos or tie up the defense to make opportunity for the rest of the forwards, So and that's what we thought. I do think it's not good enough not scoring one goal of those chances that he got. You're 60 million. You just whined. You just showed your egotistical nature and whined about not getting a chance, which is utter bullshit. So if you do that, you need to step up, and for me, this is not enough. After that rant, you need to do better, And Richarlison, for me, it's turning out to be exactly the player I kind of saw him. I never saw him as a bad player. I kind of put him where what we've been seeing from him, and he's way too childish and not enough of a team player in my view. I mean,
to be
we're
fair to
seeing
him,
that.
Jorri, though, he was involved in all 3 goals and did get that goal 4 minutes in, which
Yeah, no,
to me
in
didn't
that
even
way,
look offside.
Yeah, no, I do agree. On the pitch, I don't really. I mean, I actually do think he's not egotistical on the pitch. I would definitely agree with that. But I just mean like you can't like the dressing room drama, which I always was wary of him bringing it. This is not very much, I think, and he's already there, you know. So I don't think he can handle that pressure very well. But I don't want to, you know, damper it because he did well. This was one of his better outings for sure for us, you know. So that's good, you know. Now, you know, shut up and you know, go to work and keep doing like this, and it'll be fine, you know. I think it's clear now. We saw that with Sonny. Like it's definitely Perisic is a detriment to Sonny's.
looking that way.
Say what? Say
I
what,
say it's
Brian?
looking that way, isn't it, Jorri? As much as I didn't want to believe it to begin with, thinking like Ben said, the two world-class players should be able to adapt to each other's game and make that work. I think it's starting to show that we get the best out of Sonny when Perisic isn't on the pitch.
And also, I'd actually go as far to say Perisic isn't just a detriment to Son; he's a detriment to the whole team at the moment. So I'm happy not to see him in the team.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if we take the good Perisic, which was the first period in the club, he definitely upped our wing back level by leaps and bounds. And was very important in terms of assists and stuff like that. But now he's been really poor at the latter stage of this season. But I also just think that the midfield in general, like the transition, I've been talking about it so much that Sonny's game is off because the transition is off. You know, the transition seemed more natural, more smooth, more one touch, not back and forth endlessly. Like, you know, our transition has been most season has been like a couple of like 3 touches, hit a wall, go back, 3 touches, hit a wall, go back, 2 touches, played long, you know, something like that. This is what we've seen way too much, you know, and now this game, of course, without the midfield press, it's easy to talk about that, but it at least seemed like we knew what we were doing in terms of the transition now, you know, and especially with the like when it came to going from that point where you normally see Sonny, you know, being effective. You know, I don't think Sonny wasn't really playing his normal role. Really, I think Kane and Sonny were almost playing like playmakers, like 2 10s for Richarlison. You know, they were more looking to create, you know, to feed the runs of Richarlison than do anything themselves. And then they came on the second wave of the attack, you know, which I think is a very effective tactic there. So also props to Conte for trying that out. You know, it's definitely something we should be working with going forward.
Talk
in
to
terms
me.
of the sorry.
No, I was going to say talk.
Yeah,
I was going to say, talk to me about that that embargoed section. What did it tell to you? I mean, for me, I actually thought watching that Conte actually wants to stay here, and the club want to give him the time, and he's kind of thinking the fan base are too impatient for what he wants to do here. What did you get out of it?
That's exactly what he's saying, and he's been saying it before, but now he's been really clear, and now he's like, all I can like you know, I couldn't like, I absolutely adore Potts. I adored Mourinho. I adored Conte. They all did an absolute brilliant job for this club. If you look at it overall, all the problems that we had are by far due to other issues, which comes basically down to the squad quality. And you can talk about what you want, how come the squad quality is what it is. It is what it is. And I think all of these managers have done actually above and beyond what anybody but a brilliant manager would do, you know. And I think that's what Conte is saying as well. You know, he's saying I'm fine with our situation. I'm fine with working with what I have. I'm happy with the conditions that, or maybe not happy, but I'm working with the conditions that I have in this club, and the club is happy to give me time, but the patience is out. and he puts that on the fan, and he's absolutely right. But of course, I'm convinced that this manager out narrative is always fueled in some regard from people on the board, Levy mainly. But and I think Levy would be probably happy to keep him around if the pressure wasn't building. But as soon as the pressure builds, Levy wants to feed the manager to the crowd, to save himself, So I think that's what we're kind of seeing, and I think um, I think, but he also kind of gave the fans a big bone, which is he said like the patience among the fans is finished, and maybe that's absolutely right, because we've been waiting for too long for silverware,
Yeah.
So everything he said there was right, and I was so happy to see this is the Conte I wanted. I like whatever the situation happens. I want a manager. All I can ask is like he be competent, he be passionate, and he be honest. And Conte is showing all of those three in that embargoed session, I think. And to be honest, Ben, and I ask the fans this, is like, if we now sack Conte, fine. Even if we get Potts in, or whoever would be the best project fit for going forward, we're talking about at least 3 years of painful building, with Levy. This is still Levy, so we're still talking about building on those conditions, Whereas the way I see it is, if Levy would just, and I put this to you, Kane, if you put the pressure on Levy, and Conte gets just this summer, if nothing else, if he gets this summer with a budget and his players in, I promise you, next season we will get silverware, because Conte will also put a condition in there, which is, if I have an opportunity in the Carabao Cup or in the FA Cup, I'm going for it. I want no interference from the club in terms of prioritizing top four over silverware. But maybe I'm being Conte deluded. Who knows? But I think anybody who knows football, I think would definitely. I think I have a better case to say, if you give Conte 3 or 4 players in the summer, we are close. Like, the amount of time and effort and drama that we need to go through to be anywhere near what we can do with a little bit of fixes around Conte this summer is like, there's no comparing the two, I think, even if it is Potts who knows the club and did such a great. I mean, how long did it take Potts, and Potts. You can even say that Potts is a natural extension of maybe what started with a Redknapp or whatever, So if you combine all of that, it's a bloody long time, and it actually didn't give any silverware either, So but at least, like I said, Ben, it made me happy to see Conte, because Conte is. I really think Conte. Absolutely, a lot of fans think that Conte is arrogant towards the club and stuff. I think Conte separates the clubs and the fans, because that's the reality in our club. We are not in lockstep, the way the club operates and what the fan wants is divided. So I think that's why Conte always talks about it in that sense, and that's, he actually said that, we need to first start building a common culture, a common drive, club, fans, players, all driving towards the same thing, and we can enjoy it together, even the difficult moments, So and that's what Potts got the furthest with, and everybody that's been in the club. Potts, at least squad and fans, and it seemed at the time the club at
Everyone
some
was in
point.
alignment at that time, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's what the feeling was all about, and I think, and to be honest, if that's really all I want is for, and I think you guys have many times called for it. Let's just have a plan. Let's just have a vision, and let's just all get behind that.
And
And
stick with it
that's
as well.
yeah, exactly. Stick with it, and that's only the board that really can do that. They need to lay out their vision for the football, and then they need to commit at least 5 years. And then there's something to gather around. That then we can get some cohesion back. I really really fear like if we go this way, it's gonna be a nightmare. That's my I'm convinced of it. I also think, like, mark my words, now we're going to be playing great football the rest of the season. Like,
One
we're
game a
going to
week.
be
It's
There we
this
go, 1
carbon
week
copy of
FC.
last season, isn't it? We just lasted a bit longer.
yeah, and like one game a week, and the pressure's off, and Conte will be. He's said his piece. He will be. He will probably be on the ascendance in terms of all his personal difficult times, and he's accepted that it's not going to work out maybe, and so on. So that it will all be in a completely different tone, and which is what our players seem to need. And then yeah, and Liverpool is even more Spursy than we are. So
Literally, I mean, I was watching that Liverpool. Well, I saw the result come through, and I was like,
how can you
how
win Ten
Spursy?
Hag's team 7-0 and then go lose to Bournemouth? This is even beyond the Man City Burnley
I know.
situation. I think. Yeah.
It really is. It really is. But one last thing I'm going to talk about is back on that Conte embargoed section. I mean, in terms of the fans running out of patience, or the fans that have run out of patience, I mean, I really think that if Conte was to sign on the dotted line before the end of the season, that patience would get extended by so much, because we know that we've got a world-class manager and we've got him here for the foreseeable future. So I actually think that he's kind of playing into that, why the fans don't have patience.
I completely agree. But I think, to be honest, and I don't know this, do we know that he's been offered anything? And I actually think he hasn't been offered anything concrete because of the pressure. I think Levy is always playing this game that if we get pissed enough, he will throw the manager to the crowd, and that's what he's been lining up now. But if the pressure now backs off and we go into a period where we play really good, then I'm sure Levy even might reconsider. But now I'm trusting what Conte is saying. It's not because I have faith in Levy, but Conte seems to have a little bit faith in the board and so on. So I have to trust that. I think Conte is shrewd enough to see through various games and so on. So I do think that, and I completely agree with you, Ben. By the way, like, the fact that he hasn't signed anything is, of course, multiplying the problem for sure. So yeah.
All right, Jorri, always good to chat to you, my friend.
Lovely seeing you. It's a
speak to you
great
next
show
time.
as
See you
always.
soon.